So today is episode 29, 29 of them things of Manifest
Yeah.
Mondays. And you're here with the Spot Network. Today we're going to be talking about building a team, the importance of it, why it's necessary, all of those things, all of the above. As the saying goes, it takes a village. So with that being said, why is having a team important? I think that's the first thing that we want to go ahead and kick it off with.
Let's kick it off, man. And anybody that's in the comments, y'all comment on it too, man. Why is having a team important, man?
Saying,
For me,
yeah.
for me, for me, there's really like only a cap that you can get to by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I heard somebody say like, you kind of got to get. Sometimes you're blessed with vision so big that you're not able to see them all the way through by yourself.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I really just think it's important to really know that as much as you think you can do, you can always do more with people, man. And it's kind of like, I feel like it's like a weird thing. Like we all blessed with certain talents and just things that we're natural at. And then there's things that we're just bad at,
Yeah.
right? Like it's just like, you can't be just good at everything, right? So,
You really can.
I think it's just the importance is like connecting with people that hit those things that you can't or as good, right? Like we can all probably learn to be better at something we're not good at, but there's somebody that's naturally good in the area that you're not. You know what I mean? Somebody is like good with accounting and doing numbers and stuff, and another person's good at public
That's
speaking.
it.
If they swapped, they probably couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? If they swapped, they couldn't, man. But that's why it's important to have that team, man. So I just think in order to see through a vision that's bigger than yourself, you got to have more people than yourself on the team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What you think?
Piggybacking off of that, I think in order to accomplish anything of greatness, of immense success, it takes multiple hands on deck. Like you can't. There's only so far to your point of how there's only so far you can get on your own. Eventually, you're going to get burnt out. Burnout is a real thing. So I think being able to lean into other people and to encourage one another and to pick each other up and to push boundaries and to challenge each other, bring the best out of each other. I think there's only so much that you can do by yourself. You can be the most self-motivated person in the world, really, but at the end of the day, it takes uh a team. It takes a well-oiled machine to really make things go. And as we all know, a vehicle consists of multiple parts, right? There's not just the engine, there's not just the wheels, there's not just the axle, there's not just the doors. Like they're all different components, and I think it takes multiple people, just like in the same perspective of a team, in order to make things happen, to make that vehicle go in motion, kind of thing. And so I think
That's a fact.
there's only so much that you can do by yourself, and anyone who says they're self-made is a liar. I think there's
Come on, man.
some, whether it be a spouse, whether it be a friend, whether it be a business partner, just somebody behind the scenes who's a part of the bigger, grander vision, at the end of the day. And so as much as we would like to think that we can do everything by ourselves, and I get it too, right? Like, we want to be efficient, and relying on other people is not necessarily like the best thing to do at times, but you have to do it at some point, and if you want to achieve greatness. So a team is everything.
Nah, that's a fact, bro. The vehicle don't move if all the pieces ain't working. That's a fact, man.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? To you, like, was there ever like a moment where you just kind of like knew you needed it? Like, I feel like you've always had a team, though. Like even before we got to connect, really. Like you, Life of the Party Productions. Like what's what do you think your first moment of like getting a team around an idea was? Like, what was that first team you tried to build?
I think,
Let's
you know
take it back.
yeah, we're gonna take it back, man. I think it started in high school for sure.
Hmm.
uh it honestly started with a couple of friends. So there was a cousin, like I call him my cousin because we've known each other for so long. Obviously, like, he was a really good family friend. My mom knew his parents and all that stuff, and so we always went way back. But we kind of like started dabbling in like the rapping thing, and like just different aspects of creativity, you know, not just rapping, but dancing and stuff like that. And then I started getting connected with one of the homies, Jamie, back then, you know, and started pop locking and getting all in the clubs. So started building this movement, right?
Was
Of
there a
just
squad name? Was there a squad name?
there wasn't a squad name at the
Ah,
time.
okay.
It was kind of just we was just all just mobbing together. But
Yeah, I was just
but it was
working, just working.
that's working, you know, like we was the A team, you know. But then I met another homie Nelson, you know, like in my senior year of high school, or maybe I met him junior year. But either way, regardless, like you know, and he started like teaching me how to produce and like even like further expanding my creativity and stuff. And so I was fortunate enough to be around people who saw things in myself and vice versa. You know, I saw things in them and just like wanting to just be connected and just you know help each other grow and you know figure it out, right? You know, just like maybe we were just horsing around, right? You know, maybe we were just like really just having fun at the end of the day. But it was just always cool to just be able to move along with like people as opposed to just doing it by yourself. If I was doing it all by myself, I the journey would have went a lot slower, if at all. You know, I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't really have dove too much into teaching myself how to produce and you know teaching myself how to like pop lock and like you know tut and all this stuff and one so there was only so much that I probably would have accomplished by myself. And then fast forward into college, you know, started DJing and you know, like obviously met you and you know, like a bunch of other people, EB and all this stuff, and just uh, all the moving components of the pieces of what has become to this day. You know, just like a lot of the people that we're connected to, you know, it's still tied back to our ties in college. You know, so I think those early on. Aspects of a team, it started young. And I mean like I was always in that team mindset, right? Because I mean I was in sports young too,
Yeah,
you know, like I was in
yeah, yeah,
organ
yeah.
I played, you know, football and soccer and stuff like that throughout my youth. And so I think you kind of get around to like understanding what it takes to be successful, right? Like you can't be a one man football team going against like 11 other players, right? You know,
Reality.
like that, what does that look like? So I think you develop early on, like whether or not you're going to be a good teammate or not, you know. And so I think I always understood that like I was moving towards a better cause when I was surrounded by other people and contributing towards that overall collective goal. So I think that's where it kind of all started with me.
That's a fact, bro. And that's the same point I was gonna hit. Is it probably started like as a kid sometime, like I don't know, my first flag football game or so, like just organized sports in general. You know what I mean? I think that's where it kind of like started your first team. I guess you know what I mean. That's like
Yeah,
your first time being around a group of people for a collective goals, like, you know what I'm saying, like young like that. But mine, the same was in high school, was like that's when you start building your own team. So, right, like
yeah,
the football team is there whether you
yeah,
go or not. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're an addition to it, but the team is already built.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So like the
yeah,
system's already there, the coach is there, they got the plays, you know what I mean? The
yeah,
system's built. You know what I mean? The league, you know, D1 or you know what I'm saying? So that it's already built. So I
yeah,
think in high school you start like finding some of the things that you're passionate in, and it's natural. Like your first team is your friend group. It's just
yep,
natural, right? Like that's people that you want to do. Like, oh, you know what I'm saying, you like doing this, I like doing this. Let's try to do it together. You know what I mean? So mine was similar with it was actually the original group name was like PDP. You know what I'm saying? And then we kind of pivoted over after some changes and for the group and stuff like that to round three, and that was like
yep,
that was like the first team. I feel like we was trying to move as a unit to do
yeah,
something, man. And we thought we was cold, bro. I'm not gonna lie, but we had the matching hoodies, bro. We had we was in the hallways at the school at the basketball games with the CDs out, giving out CDs, man. You know what I'm saying? We look like a squad. You know what I'm saying? We look like a squad, man. And really it was just like through that that collective of just wanting to do music and wanting to like try that shit, and then even having a team like a little bit of healthy competition too is like
hmm
like we both sit, you write a verse, I write a verse, he write a verse, and then you just want to be better, you know what I'm saying, like you naturally get better, like
yeah,
he got me this time, I'm gonna go back to the crib, I'm gonna try something different, bring it back, you know what I mean? So yeah, bro, it was probably around the same time for me, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying, that first team for sure.
Them round three days, man.
Come on, I mean, we went into college as round three,
Yeah.
like rolled into, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man.
That's how I was introduced to y'all. Like I was like, oh, they moving as a squad. I was like, okay.
Round three, man. You know what I'm saying? I think you hit me with the DJ exclusive. What's good?
How do you think, like, at what point did y'all recognize that, like, a team was necessary? Like, I mean, because I think all of y'all could have went in like your own like individual um directions, right? But I think at what point did y'all realize that it's just like it might just make more sense for us to move together?
uh, to be honest, like the team is what made it, like made me even pursue it. To be honest, it's like I was always like into music. I loved music. I would, you know what I'm saying? But like I just remember like starting with some of my friends. It's like that's the first time I started like writing
Yeah,
verses,
yeah,
right? So then naturally, like as a team, it's like okay, I write a verse, you write a verse, and then like we record it and we mess around and got a song. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like naturally. I don't know. Maybe I would have still just picked it up on my own, but like I don't even think. I think the homie had a mic before I did. I think we was recording on like a little karaoke machine. So like you know what I'm saying? Like I don't even know if I would have got into it the same way if I didn't had a team. So I think it was just like a natural like push to be like
hmm
to start doing something as a unit where I realized like, oh well like let's keep doing this, man. We could do a whole project.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And it just, went from a couple songs to kind of piecing it together, putting our minds together, trying shit,
yep,
linking up after school, you know what I mean? So I think it kind of kicked my mind early to always kind of knowing that I needed a team
yeah, yeah,
around,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
yeah.
I think kind of similarly to to my story, and just like how I came up specifically with the homie Nelson, and like like we went by Nell being exclusive at the time. Like I guess that was like half the group, like it wasn't
Nell B.
the name, but Nell being exclusive, man. Anybody who knows
That's what's up.
knows back to them days are some real ones, but I think that's where we realized, like I said, he was the one who actually taught me how to use FL Studio and how to produce and stuff, and so I just recognized that like I've always been a creative person. I mean, I was always good at writing, like really good at writing stories and poetry and stuff like that, and that obviously evolved into writing songs. But then in learning how to like produce and stuff like that, just it expanded my creativity in a whole new way. And so I knew that I was just like, man, like I never, to your point, I never would have done this if he wouldn't have pushed me to like figure this out.
Yeah.
And it was in that moment that I realized I was just like, man, like I really need to like just surround myself with people who have similar passions and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, I think they're going to bring out certain aspects of you that you may not even have known was in you beforehand. Like it's almost like there's a characteristic or characteristics of yourself that are dormant, and they're there until someone activates it.
That's
Like
for real.
you need that person to activate whatever trait that is within you, and they bring that out of you, kind of thing. And it's just like, dang, like like you bust my head wide open to the white meat, man. Like I didn't even know I had this in me,
That's a
but
fact.
I think that's where I realized I was just like, yeah, like it's better. Of course, I can do a lot by myself, and I think I'm very capable, very talented. But I think having those people around you who do recognize whatever that trait is within you, and they do their best to bring it out of you, and vice versa. That's where you find that everlasting like reciprocal relationship where you're just challenging, motivating, inspiring one another. Like to just figure it out day by day.
That's a
Yeah.
fact, bro. Now I like the way you put that, man. Like something's dormant in you. Like you already had the thing,
hmm
but like it wasn't woken up until you was putting around somebody that woke it
Yeah.
up. Like you know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
that's a fire way to put
Yeah.
that, bro. Um, like at what point, like for people that kind of like are trying to build a
hmm
team, like at what point do you think they should start looking for a team? Like if they're like a lot of people are like hyper independent and stuff like that. Um, what point should they start looking for a team, and like how should they go about building it? Like what you think on that?
I think the moment that you start feeling somewhat overwhelmed or like stressed about certain things, like dang, I don't even know how I'm gonna figure this out because I don't know how to do this. Like if granted, you can wear so many hats, right? They say when you're starting a business or like becoming an entrepreneur, when you're like as a creative, someone in the music industry, you got to wear a lot of hats. But when things start becoming like super overwhelming and stressful, and this may not be your expertise too, like it's just like, man, like I know that I just want to create, man. I don't even know how to run ads, like I don't know how to book shows, I don't know how to do this and do that. And
Yeah,
granted, go on YouTube and you can go on TikTok and Google and all these resources and learn those things. But it's just going to be such a longer and grueling process, especially if you don't find joy in there too, right? I think like as musicians, we figure out a lot of things on our own because for the sake of having to, that
having to, yeah,
you have to, right? But I think at the moment that those things really do start becoming just like too much on your plate, and you just like find yourself hitting that wall where it's just like, man, like just feeling defeated, like bro, I'm sitting here just like throwing stuff at the wall and none of it's sticking. I think that's when you really recognize that it's like, okay, I do need a team to get this done. I think this is where I need to like just start inquiring, right? I'm not saying like you're going to build a team overnight, but like maybe you find somebody else, at your school, or, somebody in your neighborhood, just people that like you share similar passions with. I think that's a big thing is finding people who have similar passions and values to you, because like you're not gonna go find somebody who like is trying to be like a scientist, like and add like that's not gonna add anything to. But if someone like for instance is in marketing and they know how to like figure out like I know all the ins and outs about like Facebook ads and all this stuff and whatnot. Like okay, cool. Like like I have no idea how to do that, but I think that could be beneficial to like ultimately like what I'm trying to figure out. Do you mind helping me out? And I think just like reaching out that help that reaching out your hand to just ask for help, I think is a big thing too, because I know as independents, like and people who are very prideful, right? Like we want to do everything on our own. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is ask for help,
that's a
but
fact.
I think the moment that you really start feeling that weight on your shoulders is getting too heavy, and it's just like, damn, I need some help. I think that's the moment that you start extending those invitations, and it's just like, some of them are gonna stick, some of them aren't, and to Marco's point, he said, believe taking out your ego. That's a huge thing. As men too, like, like I think
That's
as
a
men, we
fact.
just are very prideful, man. Like, it's that machismo, like, like, man, nah, I gotta be like, I gotta be a thug. Like I gotta
I
figure it
got this
out.
shit.
Oh,
Yeah,
I got this, but I think, like I said, when you do start feeling overwhelmed and stressed about things, that's when you really need to start figuring out what is going to be the best for you and reducing that burnout. Because, like I said, burnout is real, and you'll find yourself just like defeated, and no one likes that feeling, that sentiment of feeling defeated. So I think that's when you really start reaching out.
no, that's a fact, bro. I like the way that Marco said that. That's actually where I was gonna move to. Is kind of like taking out your ego, and what I was gonna say in the sense of like taking out your ego or just thinking that whatever you do is just the best out the gate. Of
Yeah,
course, you want to think that because it's you, right?
yeah,
But if you like, okay, like if you like, let's just use music because we both are in it. You know, the first song you record on the little computer mic that goes straight through there. You know, even if you thought it was cool, you knew that shit that didn't sound like on the radio. Like you know it. Like you just know.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta take what I'm saying is take out your ego to be like, bro, this shit don't sound that good. Like, like I probably need some work. It is cool, but I need some work. It don't like it. It literally doesn't sound good. Like it's not mixed, so I don't even know where to start with that.
yeah,
Take out your ego to really be able to judge what you're doing, like objectively, and be like, okay, what do I need? You know what I mean? And then I would go as far as to like maybe writing down or just mapping out the shit that you're actually good at and the shit that you're not. You know what I mean? And when you take your ego out, it's easier to do that. Be like, yo, I'm good at this, but I suck at. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
that's where you start finding people in that category that the shit that you're not good in to be like, yo, I'm gonna need you to, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Yo, I see you do this for that. You mind tapping in with the team and I suck at graphic design. Maybe he could. I seen you do this for him. Could you rock with
yeah.
you know what I mean? My vision. So I think kind of looking at what you need,
Hmm.
um, and then just tapping into people that you see doing it is so easy with social media now. You kind of
Exactly.
know what people do a little bit, and if you fan of what they do, man, take your ego out enough to just ask and reach out. You know what I'm saying? And you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I think naturally, you mentioned it earlier. The first people that you're going to reach out to are people you know, right? Like your friends,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even like family, something like that. Those are going to be the people that you like naturally reach out to first. But if you feel like you still can't find help there, to your point, social media is such a tool that you can leverage, and you can find anything and anyone on the internet too. And like you said, just reaching out and just asking for help. And that's a big thing. And just putting your pride aside and just saying, hey, like, this is what I'm working on. This is what I think I want to accomplish. And I love to see what you're doing. I think that's also a big too, is like your approach, like of how you approach people about it too. Like, it's not just like, because you can approach people in the wrong manner too,
Ah, for
like
sure.
I think that's also important. I think how you approach people to with the idea of joining you and your team or whatever the case may be is huge too, and just being respectful at all times. Some people, like I, you, we talked about this other day. Like, don't you hate when like people reach out to you with like that fake small talk, and they're about to ask you something like they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and granted, like, I mean, I get it, like, especially if you don't have rapport with somebody, like that fake small talk and that fake, like, you obviously want to get out those just polite gestures and stuff like that. I definitely get that you want to do that. But I think just being genuine and authentic at the end of the day, while still being respectful, is the best way to go about reaching out to people. And honestly, just like I think of it as just like hit up people the way you would want to be hit up.
That's
Like
a fact.
what's like if somebody approached me in this manner, like I'm like, oh yeah, like how could I not? How could I say no? Kind of thing.
And that's a big piece, man. Is like there's a fine line of doing that little fake, little small talk thing, and then like being too direct to where like it's almost like off putting, bro. Like, hey, bro, I need you to do this verse for me.
Yeah,
Like what? what? What, bro? You know what I'm saying?
I
So
need.
I think yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be good for you if you do this verse for me. Like, what? All right, you know what I'm saying? So I think really finding the like you said, like finding out how you'd want to be
Yeah.
approached. And honestly, I think what people don't do enough is think about what the other person might want out of the exchange.
Yeah.
Especially if it's somebody that you want to work with. You know what I mean? If it's like if it's somebody you see somebody doing that, they doing their shit and you like, I like what they doing over there.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You think about how they probably want to be approached and think about what they probably want from the situation. A
Yeah.
lot of people approach every conversation with like shit they can get out of it, but it's like the other person, if you approach it kind of like what can they get out of it, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
It changes up the whole thing. You know what I mean? It changes up the whole, conversation. I know even like the one thing that actually I first engineer I really connected with was Jay Rich, but he did something cool though. He was just like, "Yo, you know what I mean? I like some of the songs on there. I think the mix could be a little bit better on them. I want to offer you 3 hours of free um,
Hmm.
engineering. You know what I mean? And baby, you can come record at the spot." And he was like, anything after the 3 hours, I charge for. You know what I mean? And I was like, bet. You know what I mean? So popped over there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So like that was like the perfect approach to think about it. Like, what did I need? I needed better quality sound, and he probably wanted somebody that could rap or what I'm saying, make music around. So it just made sense. So I think that was like a perfect approach to be like, what does the other person need? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head by saying offering something. Most people just
Yeah.
most people just want to take and never want to give. And that's how a lot of people approach every interaction, especially when it comes to like business. So I think offering something and just thinking about it from the perspective of how can I be an asset? Like how can I contribute to this? Before even asking for something, he offered like, yo, like before I even like ask you like to like, yo, like get on my song,
Hmm.
I'm offering you 3 hours of studio time. Just come through, pull up, let's work on something. And
Hmm.
then, during the session, it's just like, hey, I actually got this like song that I'm working on. Like, you think you want to like hop on this? And then it's just like, okay, cool. But I think that's a huge piece of it too, is offering and just being of service, or just like, like I said, just presenting yourself as an asset, as opposed to just like always wanting to just take something and like demanding things.
That's a fact, man. And even sometimes if you don't know what that thing is, ask people. Like,
Hmm.
yo, I love what you're doing, man. You know, I see what you're working on. That's something I do kind of now sometimes too. It's just like I see what you doing. And I think Marco does this too. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. But reach out to people and be like, what do you need, or where can I help? What you got going
Yeah.
on? You know what I mean? Like I see you doing your thing, but what areas you think would help you go to the next level?
Yeah.
They might say something that you can do.
Yeah.
Like, man, I'm actually trying to get this little placement with Juneteenth. And you're like, oh, well, I know the president of Juneteenth. I
Yeah.
could plug you. I
Yep.
could plug you.
Yeah.
That's an instant connection to where you made a connection there. You know, he might get a situation that where he benefits out of it, and then you know you build a rapport with that person. I think I heard K Tone tell me that this, you know, one of the first things I heard, so first time I heard somebody say something like this, he said, if you want somebody that you don't know to do something for you, sometimes you got to do something more than what you want from them for them
Mm.
first. And I was like, that's a cool way to put it. He was like, you know, if you was like looking for a DJ to play your song, right? Don't lead with that. You know, pull up at all that DJ's events,
Hmm.
network with
Yeah.
them. You know what I'm saying? Bring 10 people to every event that they at. You know what I mean? Like a DJ would probably mess with you if you pop up everywhere they at with 10 people, no matter where the event is,
Yep.
buying drinks, you know what I'm saying, showing love. Do something more for, you know what I'm saying? That you got a DJ competition or he's selling tickets to something, buy the ticket, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
support that other side before you ask for it. You know what I mean? I think that's important, bro.
Yeah. And and a little bit goes a long way. Like just like you said, just pulling up and just offering support. Like I think that's just we all know in this industry, especially in the music industry, there's like support can be a very hard thing to come across. So I mean, just doing something as little as just showing up and showing face sometimes can go a long way. I remember that's kind of how I approached the situation with getting Kayla Ray on Real Thing. I was pulling up and just like really just supporting just because I always rock with Kayla's like sound, and she was just always like a dope person. And even from the
Mm-hmm.
get-go, she just had a really cool energy about her, kind of thing. And so, but I knew she was talented too, so it's just like, is there maybe like an ulterior motive? Maybe, but like at the same time, like I just genuinely like want to pull up and support and just like, be present in the moment. And if something comes of it, cool. If something doesn't come of it, that's also cool,
Yeah.
but at the end of
Yeah.
the day, like nothing will come of it if you never take that first step, or whatever the case may be. And just sometimes just doing something as little as that, just like, yo, I just showed up to a concert, just wanted to say hi, introduce myself, just like show you some love. Just like, oh man, like thank you, appreciate you.
Yeah.
Fast forward a few months later, it's just like, hey, I actually got this song, I'm working on. Would love to have you on it. What are your thoughts? Send her the demo version. She's like, I love it. Let's work. Bet, say less. So it's something as little as that. Like I said, showing up and showing face. Sometimes you don't even have to spend money, but like sometimes,
Yeah.
like it takes money to make
Yeah.
to make money,
Yeah.
especially in this industry too. But yeah,
And
man.
if it's not money, think about like what do you have? And sometimes it is just time,
Yeah,
right? Sometimes you exchanging the time or, you know,
yeah,
sharing something that they got going on or you
yeah,
know what I mean? Like it's
yeah,
really like people be seeing it, man, whether they act like it or not. Some people act way too cool, you know what I'm saying? But people know when somebody's like showing love.
yeah,
People know. Like
yeah,
there's people that I could think of in my life that like I'm gonna just shout her out just because I always remember this. Shout out to Veronica. I
yeah.
remember, you know, I was doing a show in Greeley. I was just when I was going to CSU. I was in Fort, you know, living in Fort Collins, but I was doing a show in Greeley, and I had a homegirl back then, and she said, I can't make the show, but I still want to buy 2 tickets. You know what I mean? So you can give it to somebody who can make it, but I just want to support you.
Yeah. That's
That's something that's
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like that's something I can't forget to
yeah,
this day. I was just like, you know, people act like because even like a lot of times people act like if I can't go, there's no way I can support. That just changed my mind to think because I had never even done that. Like
yeah.
I was like, damn, I guess that's hard. You know what I mean? So it was just dope to be like, just because you can't be there
Mm-hmm.
physically, you can't. There's other ways you can support, and if you
Yep.
you know, and I think that it goes a long way, man. You know, there's a big difference between somebody that says they're gonna pull up and don't, right?
Yeah.
And even if they got like a real excuse, but if they got like 2, 3 excuses and they're like, yo, I'm gonna really try to make it and they never pull up, there's a big difference between the person that just pulls up.
Yeah.
It's a way bigger difference. You know, we all get them texts after like, oh, my fault, bro. It looked fire,
Yeah.
man. I really
Yeah.
wanted to do it. Something came up.
Yeah.
We all got lives,
Yeah.
bro. We all got lives, man. But like people be remembering when you really do pull up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Whether they say it or not, they be
Yeah,
remembering. You know what I mean? So
I remember every time, every time somebody pulled up and showed love, and that's it, man. Just like we said, support is a hard thing to come across. So when people just show up and show face and just genuinely just like we were just talking about this earlier today, is like how do you show up for people, you know, kind of thing. I think
mm-hmm.
it's a big piece of of people wanting to work with you too. You know, when we talk about like building a team and stuff like that, when people genuinely want to work with you is when they like really vibe with like what you're like, not just what you're offering, but like, yo, he's just a really cool person, man. Like he just shows up in certain ways that like, yo, like just you know, like he just called me out the blue and was just like, yo, man, I just wanted to check in and just see how you doing, man. You know, like
Yeah.
sometimes it's something as simple as that. Like, I don't want nothing from you. I just wanted to, you know, just see how you doing, man. You know, just uh what you got in the works. Oh, you got a show coming up? Man, I would love to pull up and support, you know, kind of thing. It's just like something as little as that, you know, like and I think people always remember that, you know, like when people show up and show face and just show love and show support, that's something that I'll always remember. But the people for you know all the people who are just like, yo, I'm gonna show up and never do. It's like, all right, cool.
You kind of remember that
You do.
too. You know what I mean? You kind of, and you might not even tell them. You like, you might get just faded off. Like, oh, every time they say it,
Yeah.
oh, for sure, bro. You like, I know they ain't coming. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like I know they ain't. You know what I mean? But that person that be pulling up, you know what I mean? It's only natural that like, and I think like subconsciously we look at people that show up like this is somebody I probably if I worked with, I know they would show
Hmm.
up. It's an easy concept to think about, right? Like I know if I worked with them that they going, you know, they deliver. They at least do what they say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, so what's what's some ways that you find yourself like be building a team or even networking with people that you don't fully know yet?
Hmm.
What's ways that you naturally like you just maybe go out of your way to show up for them?
Uh, uh, I think ways that I show up for people are kind of what I mentioned, just checking in with people. I think that's something that I'm really good at. I think I just
Mm-hmm.
am always good at like following up. Like, you know, like we always talk about the art of the follow up, right? You know, like sometimes I've had multiple people mention that to me, even like out in New York. You know, there's a promoter that I frequently work with now, and he was just like, bro, I just appreciate the fact that you just like, you know, like you just check in, you know, and just ask, you know, like because even if I wasn't DJing for an event, it's just like cool. Like, is there still some way that I can like show up and just like you know like you need help with anything else? If I got to carry,
Yeah,
if I got to like you know like if I got to help tear down, if I got to help set up, you know like if I could help, you know like if I got to be security, you know, cool. Like you know like whatever. What other ways like can I get in and be of help and be of service and just knowing that like even if I'm not a key player, I can still be a role player, you know, like kind of thing. And I think that's something that I don't mind putting my pride aside and just showing up for people, you know, just figuring out the best way that I can just like really just help others. Like, cause at the end of the day, like in my core, that's like one of the things that like I like one of the pillars of my life is how can I be of service and how can I help others, you know, at the end of the day. And so I think that's something that I'm really good at is A, following up, but also B, just like, you know, just showing up and just being of service in multiple ways.
but that was a bar. Even if I'm not a key player, I can still be a role player, man. A lot of people can learn from that, man.
Yeah.
Just you know what I mean? It like you don't gotta always be the
Yeah.
dude. You know what I mean? Sometimes you moving tables around. That's
Yeah.
cool. You don't gotta always be the thing that everything circulates around, bro. I think that's super important, man. To understand that,
Yeah.
man. Even if you're not a key player, but it's a team that you want to be on. Maybe see how you can be a role player,
Yeah.
man. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Easy concept, but not a lot of people like subscribe to
Yeah.
it. You know, so
You
yeah,
said
yeah.
role players still get rings too, you know. So
Yeah, man. Shout out to role players still get rings,
yeah, man.
bro. Come on, man. If you
Shout out.
see the vision.
We know Robert Ory. Robert Ory got 6 of them things.
Come on, man. Stop playing with them.
Yeah.
Stop playing with them, man. Now that's important, bro. And that's kind of like that's one thing I do too. Is like there's sometimes like I get opportunities that's either for me or it's like it's not for me. But I
Hmm.
just one way I connect is I extend my opportunities to other people.
Yeah.
That's like my biggest way to
Yep.
like connect with people that I always done is like if I have an opportunity and that and there's a way that somebody else could be involved, and I see him working, and it's like somebody I just salute, or it's my people, and I, you know what I'm saying? I'm always just try to plug them into that opportunity, whether it's something I could do it or not. You know what I mean? Sometimes
Yeah.
it might not be something that I could do. It's like, you know, it might just be somebody needs, you know, junk removal. I'm
Yeah.
plugging my
Yeah.
guy, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, right now, you know what I mean? They might just need to connect to a venue. Oh yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then sometimes it's I had the opportunity, like Black Sands or something, and it's like I see people that been working, and I just want to throw the opportunity. Like we said, like me and you could have sat down and probably made the whole album, right?
Yeah.
Just, you know,
Yeah.
all beats from you, all rapping from
Yep.
me, you know what I'm saying? Some verses from you on there. We could have made it all in house,
Yeah.
but I thought it was a bigger move to like, all right, this is gonna be a light shit on the city. Let's expand it. I'll get some different sounds from people. It's gonna lighten my
Yeah.
load. I ain't gotta
Absolutely.
write. I ain't gotta write 16 full songs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe I just got some demos for it. I got a verse on this one. You did the beat. All right, we bring him in. You wrote the hook,
Yep.
and now you know now we got Champ and Sydney on it, and we got the bright side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like sometimes people don't understand throwing opportunities to other people puts you in a better position.
Absolutely.
They don't understand
Yeah.
that. So, you know, I always want to stress that to people, man, is if you don't be stingy with the opportunity, brother.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Don't be
You know what I'm
stingy.
saying?
Nobody likes to.
Throw a oop,
Yeah.
man. Whether you assisted or you score yourself, man, the play
That,
was still made.
that's it.
You
Don't
feel
be
me?
selfish, man. Like to be a true team player, you got to be selfless. You know, like at and just understanding what that looks like, and that's something that I've always recognized. You know, about you specifically. You've always like I said, you always been the dot connector. You know, you gonna throw a oop. You know, that boy's gonna throw some oops. He's 100% with the oop game. You know, like he never
Come
misses oop.
on, man. What's the name? Kenyon calls me Chris Paul. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that
You know what I
that boy,
mean?
that boy 1,000% on them oops.
Come on, man. CP3, you know what I'm saying?
That's
Nah,
it.
but
That's
but
it.
that's a piece that I even wanted to bring in was exactly what you're saying is something that me and you did before. And I seen somebody talking about it one time. Is like sometimes you can't even see your own strengths because you naturally do them, right?
Hmm.
So I think like a big thing that we talked about is like reach out to the people around you, all the closest people around you, and really just at one point ask them what you're good at.
Yeah.
They'll they'll probably say something that you don't even really recognize about
Yeah.
yourself. You'll be like, you know what I mean? Like you said, like that was the best thing that when you told me that I wanted to lean into it after you told me. You was like, you kind of like a dot connector. Like you
Hmm.
can see things and see like the little pieces and points, and then be like, oh, if you do that and that and that, we gotta. It's like a picture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you connect the dots, and I was like, oh damn, that's I could see me doing that in more teams than just
Yeah.
music. You know what I'm saying? And that's what kind of like connected it to me. So I was like, I always appreciate it when we had that conversation. I was just like,
Hmm.
you know, ask your close people what you're good at, man. They're gonna give you an answer that you might not even have thought of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And just like to your point, when you identify what those key strengths are and even your key weaknesses, right? You increase your awareness, but also your efficiency. It's just like, yo, I know what I'm good at, and I'm just
Yeah.
gonna hone, like, and then I recognize that, yo, I may not be good at this, so I'm gonna have somebody else. And I think that's also when it comes to teamwork, that's how you identify delegation too, right? Like I think that's a good way to go about it is like just like you said, mapping out all those strengths and those weaknesses, and then you just hone in on your strengths. Whatever your weakness is, you incorporate other people who are gonna like bat 1,000 on that every time. Like when it comes to making slaps, I know that my guy makes slaps all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to R vibe, man, John Robinson, I know he's gonna deliver on the R&B
Every
vibes.
time.
Like if I need to sing, shoot, tie, boom. Like it's just you identify the people, the roles that are needed, right? Like, and then you fill those roles with people that you already know, or maybe connected to in some way. And I think that's a big piece of teamwork too, is just learning how and when to delegate.
That's a fact. That's a fact, man. And to that delegation piece, we talked about this a little bit when it was me, you, and Diamond. Sometimes when you're like building a team and it's not just your vision, it's like a collective vision. You got to realize that like it's sometimes it's like it's a couple equals on the
Mm.
same team.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? That just this person's better at this, that person's better at that. It's not like my position is greater than yours or yours is,
Exactly.
and my vision has to trump everybody on the teams or his you know what I mean? Because that's all ego, bro. It's
Yeah.
all ego, man. So when you can take that out and be like, yo, every role on this team is just
Yep.
as important,
Yep.
and he does something that I can't do way better than I can do it. I could do something that he might not be able to do. He does something that both of us can't do. Then it's like, all right, well then you could do that. It's like natural
Yeah.
delegation. You know what I'm saying? Where it's
Yep.
like, I know what I'm good at. I got you on this. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
You know, like if everybody on the team could take something and be like, oh, that's easy. Oh, then it's about you about to get some shit
Yeah.
done, boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, say less. Oh, that's easy.
That.
You feel me? You
Yeah.
know, so if you got a full team of people like that, you know, get rebounds. Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
Get assists. That's
Yeah.
easy.
That's it.
Score 40. That's easy.
That's
You
me.
know what I'm saying? Like when you got a team that's about to do something crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly. And you hit the nail on the head, not discrediting the importance of anybody's role. I think just treating everybody with the same level of respect, whether, they're the janitor or whether they're the CEO, like I'm still treated the exact same way, because at the end of the day, I know that you're contributing towards the bigger purpose, and I think it's just that selflessness of just like understanding that like people want to show up and want to be a part of it, especially when you figure it out and you delegate all these pieces and they see it working too,
mhm.
that want to buy
when they
in even more.
see it working,
When they
when they see it working, that's
go,
big.
like I kind of saw the vision before, but I fully see it now. So like, they're fully invested now. So and shout out to Marco. I know
Shout out
Marco
to
said that he
Marco, bro.
so shout out to Marco, man. That's huge love. Glad to hear that were able to secure that, bro. That's music to our ears, man. Like we always love to see every dub, every win that you take. And shout out to Marco, man. Like, he's been somebody that we've always looked up to. And you want to talk about building a team and just being an asset and always contributing in each and every way. Marco's the epitome of that. He's the definition of that each and every time. So shout out to him. And you want to talk
He's
about
one of
yeah,
I was gonna add to what you were saying. He's one of those dudes that's like we talked about, like, what do you do? Whatever needs to be done.
yeah,
That's Marco. Like whatever needs to be done. You
yeah,
know what I mean? You know, so big shout out to you, Marco, bro. You one of them whatever needs to be done, I'm gonna get it done type of dudes, man. And whether that's you building a company, being a part of a team, being on, you know what I mean? It's like you one of them ones, bro. So shout out
yeah,
to you, man.
yeah. Shout out, man. Just securing one of the many hotels, from here on out. So, love to
That's
see it.
fire.
Keep growing, man. Keep doing your thing. I love to see it. Shout out to Templix. To anybody who needs any kind of like, man, just know that Templix will be a household name soon. Y'all just need
It's
to know
coming.
that. Y'all heard it here
It's
first.
coming. It's
Y'all heard it here
coming.
first. But
Shout out.
anyways, back to building the team, right? So in building a team and obviously like learning how to delegate and stuff like that too, I think you hit on this point earlier, is it also in turn identifies like accountability, right? I think that accountability is something that we're big on. I know that it's something that is one of the pillars of my life. I know it's something that you're big on too. And I think when you work within a team and understand that, like I said, when they buy into the vision, when they see the vision and see it working, they want to buy into it even more. But I think that also increases accountability. So like if your job is to rebound, I expect you to rebound. Like
Yeah.
we know that's what you do, kind of thing. So like when you don't do that, it's just like, okay, cool, like let's have a conversation about it, right? Like what happened, like and it's okay, like players mess up too, right? We all have off games, and stuff like that. It's the ability to bounce back and just like, cool, bro, like sharing that space and being in being comfortable with each other enough to understand that you can offer constructive criticism and you can understand that like, yo, I think you do this really well, but I think if you did this, it would be even better. Like you'd be even better, kind of thing. And so I think being receptive to that stuff too. Like I think obviously being a teammate and a team player, it's not always going to be easy, like, and I think that's where that accountability piece comes into, is like when things even get hard, like, and you find yourself, you on a 7-game losing streak. It's just like, bro, fellas, we got to go back to the drawing board. Like, like we got to
Yeah.
figure it out. Right. Like it's that extra level of accountability. So I think that's another big piece in building a team, constructing a team, and even maintaining a team too is accountability. Because if someone's role is to rebound and they don't ever rebound, we need to find somebody else who can potentially fill that role and deliver, right? You know,
That's a
so
fact.
yeah.
Nah, that's big, bro. Like, and I feel like it should happen naturally with people that want to be great at what they're doing. It's kind of like, but it does add a little bit of, I don't know if it's pressure or if it's just like I don't want to let the
Yeah,
team down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to, like, we said we was going to do this. He did what he was supposed to do. There's no reason that I couldn't do what I said I was going to do.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So I
yep,
think that's just it's an important piece that naturally happens when you build a team that everybody's delivering. It's like, I don't have no reason not to. I
mhm.
said I was going to do it. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of times with teams, people can weed themselves out by just not doing it.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like if your number is called on and every time you don't show up, it's just like, man, like, you know, I remember, everybody remembers, you know, like you said, like that's just something that's just, man, every time his number was called upon, like, you know, he was missing practices. He was, you
Yeah.
know, he went 0 for 27, you know, like it's like people just remember those things, right? You know, and so I think just wanting to show up, and especially when you're bought into the vision, right, you know, and stuff like that, you want to show up, you want to be accountable for yourself, for your teammates and stuff like that too, you know, because at the end of the day, it's something that I've always talked about and we talk about all the time. A collaborative effort yields the best results. I don't care what anybody says. You know, you can only do so much by yourself, but when everybody is performing at an optimal level, prime example, the Timberwolves right now, the Timberwolves are balling right now, you
Well,
know,
that's
like
still a sore spot, brother.
we might be a little sore, but it's just yo Denver beat my Lakers anyway, so you know it's okay. We can have we both out of there. We both out of there now. But
Six.
Denver Denver is a great team, and Jokic is a great player, right? You know, like there's multiple great players on that team. You know, Jamal Murray, you know, there's Porter Jr. You know, like there's just there's so many moving pieces, and obviously being the defending champs too. But look at the Timberwolves. You know, the Timberwolves came storming. I don't want to necessarily say out of nowhere, but you know, like Ant balling out of control. You know, Carl Anthony Thomas balling out of control too. You know, like it's just, but there's so many other like key players to that. Like everyone is bought into the vision and everyone's just performing optimally at what they're good at, right? You know, and so I think that's the level that it took to dethrone the defending champions. I know that's still a sore spot, but that's the effort that it took from the Timberwolves in order to figure that out. Because a prime example, uh, Ant Man, he had one of his worst performing games from the field. You know, he was 6 for 24, right? You know, that was his worst shooting games of the playoffs. But they still managed to win and come back from 20 down, right? You know, like so. How did they do that, right? It took multiple people. It took a collective effort to make it happen, and so that's what it takes in order to achieve greatness. You know, so sorry to hit that sore spot, but I just had to bring that up one time.
Come on, man. Shout out to the Nuggets, man. I know we hurting right now, man. Shout out to Denver, man.
Shout out to, come on, like they're still great.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They
Facts.
gonna bounce back. You know, like it was just their time. It was the Timberwolves time, and who knows? Like maybe they go to the finals, maybe they don't. Dallas is also balling too. You know, it's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be a bang out
It's just
series.
some good teams, man.
Yeah,
It's just some good teams out here, man.
yeah. So,
Um,
in,
oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was gonna say, like, how important do you think that the people have to be on the same terms on the like where the team's going? How important is that? Like, you know what I mean? I think to have that shared vision
Yeah,
is super important, man. You know, like I think that's the difference between like someone like stepping into their role and stepping away from it. Almost is kind of like if we had the similar vision, man. Because just because someone can do something, if they don't want to do it,
yeah,
then it's going to be hard to like fit a team. You know what I mean?
yeah. I think identifying what the major goal, like what the end result is everything. Because if we're all kind of just like, we could all be very supportive and whatnot, but if we don't know where we're going, like if we're just wandering aimlessly, like with no kind of like sense of direction or anything like that, no one likes uncertainty. Uncertainty is a tough thing. Like, like it's just like cool, like we're we're all great at something, right? And we're trying to figure it out. But like, what is the end result? I think you need to have that direction. Like people, we talked about it earlier too, right? People need to be told what to do, like, and not in the sense of like you're trying to like, yo, like you like being a bossy or or whatever the case may be. But people at the end of the day, they need to know what they're working towards. Because if not, then it's just like you're kind of just like showing up and doing. That's like going to the gym and just like not having any kind of plan. Like you're like, all right, like I might do like two exercises, and it's just like, damn, I don't even know what I'm gonna do now. Like like you're
That's
kind
a
of just
fact.
you're kind of just showing up and you're just trying to figure out. There's only so much results that you're going to get out of that, right? But if you're showing up to the gym with a orchestrated plan each and every time, like I know that I'm hitting 4 sets of 10 on these 6 different workouts, yo, I'm going in there and I'm killing it every day. I guarantee you that person is going to have much better results than the person who's just kind of going in there and just like showing up and just figuring out along the go, like in a matter of like 8 weeks, those people are gonna like look completely differently. I assure you that. So like I think it's just similar in regards to working with as a team. When you're working towards something and you know what your goal is, it just helps you not just not just understand what that looks like and how you can contribute, but it's also like how can you reassess? Because when you find yourself in those moments of like, dang, like we're not performing well, how can we go, like let's go back to the drawing board, because like at the end of the day we know this is the end result. We want to win a championship, right? How do we get back to performing at the level that we were performing at before because we fell off? So like you can identify those times, not just the good but the bad as well.
It's important,
Yeah,
man. Oh, that's a fact, man.
it's everything, man. So in regards to being an individual, right, let's say like you're a great individual and you haven't built a team yet. Do you think it's possible to be completely self-made?
Um, uh, I'll say yes and no, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll say yes in the sense of like, well, it's mainly no, but I'm saying like there's certain things that you can do that like you can lock in and do by yourself, and it's like so like maybe say like stock trading, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like let's say you just became a great stock trader, and then you were able just to make money in this little realm right
Mm-hmm.
here. That's like one of the few things that I think is possible to like you just figure out something and just nobody else, and it's just you.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every single thing in the world would take a team to 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 level up or to build on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you want to be great, you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Like you can build a small little mom and pop business that never goes anywhere, and it's just you in there just
Mm-hmm.
selling. You buy a food truck and you just selling there, but you probably will never be great if you don't build that team, man. So I think you can, but not any great team.
Mm-hmm.
You can build something that's just you, but if you're
Yeah.
trying to build something great, you're gonna always need a team, man.
Yeah. Agreed. The separation between good and great is immense too. Like, so I do agree. I think you can build something good on your own, but if you want to build something great, it's going to require a team. It absolutely is. And even furthermore, kind of like piggybacking off of what you were saying, like for instance, being a stock trader, like if you were to accumulate all this knowledge and like you figured it out and you became amazing at what you did and just never shared that information with anybody, I think that I'd honestly think that'd be tarnishing your legacy. Like, like why not pass that information on to others, your family, friends, people around you. Like, Kevin Hart said it too, right? Like, who wants to be successful by themselves? Like I don't want to be on an island partying by myself. Like with like if I'm gonna be successful, like let's figure this out. Like I want my friends to be successful too, and my people to be successful because like I want to be able to enjoy this together. Like nobody wants to just be doing this. What sense does it make for me to be partying on a yacht by myself? Like popping bottles, like could you imagine me just like by myself just on a yacht, like yo, I made it, baby. We out here doing big things, and it's just like,
Sounds
oh,
crazy. No, you out there,
that's
you out there on a yacht alone. That's
that,
what's happening. You know,
cool. Like,
that's what you.
I want to be on a yacht with like 100 people, like all my people, like
Yeah,
just like yo, we celebrating us, like and figuring out now. Granted, I think to the point you can figure out so many things along the road by yourself, but then at some point you have to delegate. You have to start incorporating others, especially if you have that sense of community, right? And that's something that I think, especially in America too, we're taught to be very selfish, and community isn't always necessarily the emphasis, But when we talk about achieving wealth and that greatness and passing it on to others, I think that's something that we, especially as Black people, could be better at.
yeah.
Honestly, and so like when you want to talk about like changing the course of history, it takes those few to like really uplift one another, right? And Marco said it, J. Cole said it best, man. Like we figuring this out together, So
And that's the piece that I wanted when I was listening to you. That's the piece I wanted to add to it. Is like that's why I really don't understand like when people gatekeep
yeah,
knowledge.
yeah,
Like that shit is so weird. Whereas you would not want to put your people on some game that you
yeah,
learned. Like if you did, like you said, if you did become like a great trader, then why wouldn't you want your people to know about it? Or you was in an opportunity that why wouldn't you want your people to know about it? Like you know what I'm saying? Like you realize that it's almost like that scarcity mentality. You think if
yeah,
I'm gonna pass something on that I'm not that it's taken away from me. When you realizing that passing it on every time that I put somebody on game or something, pretty much every time, if they took it serious, they came back and taught me something that I didn't know about the same thing.
hmm
You know what I mean? They might do their own little research and go
exactly,
down deeper and then teach you something else about the thing that you taught them about.
exactly,
So it if you got the right people around you, right? And
yeah,
I think that's like when you got that type of mentality of like we're all leaving one day, man. Why would you want to like learn something and just let the end of the end of all be you knew it?
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. That
To me, that's
it
really crazy. Like,
really
you
is.
know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. And when you find yourself in a network like ours, where I think we all share similar mindsets, right? I think that's why we've all gravitated towards each other. The biggest thing in identifying a team is a similar mindset. But to your point, it's knowing when to lead and when to be led. Because we talked about that earlier, right?
mhm.
If I know that I'm great at this, and sharing that knowledge, like Diamond went and identified 7 new hot stocks, and it's just like, yo, bro, like I know you put me onto this, but yo, I just figured this out. We can make a killing on this bet, bro. Like,
Right.
shoot, like I would I wouldn't have discovered this otherwise myself, right? So it's just when you have multiple people working towards the same goal, you're gonna do nothing but like elevate even further, right? Like it's like as opposed to just one mind identifying all these things, you now have two, then three, then four, then seven, then 10, and then you have all these people bought in, and you're creating this community. And I think that's a big thing too, is just putting that pride aside and wanting to share knowledge and grow together, and like I said, just knowing when to lead and when to be led. I think that's a big thing.
My man Marco said he struggles with being lead, and I honestly don't. I don't agree with that. Like, like I think I've seen you in different situations, and you kind of like naturally do lead like that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Maybe you just don't see it in yourself, but like I know
yeah,
sometimes what you mean is like sometimes it's hard to just take over and get to delegate and everything. And sometimes I'm the same way. It's just like wanting to. In your mind you think it's easier to like just do it than like tell somebody or teach somebody how to
yeah,
do it. You know what I mean? But in the long run, it saves time and energy when you're able to just have those real conversations, man. And then when it's a team that all wants to win and go, they understand like
yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like I'm leading because I know what I'm talking about in this thing. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So this is my time to call the shots. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Or Marco, were you trying to say that you struggle with being led? Is that what you're trying to say?
Probably so.
Which
I can
even
see
if
that.
if that's the case, then I still don't think that's necessarily true, because Marco is very much, we touched on it earlier, right? You have that mindset of like whatever needs to be done, I'm gonna get it done, kind of thing. So I think you understand also, like, you may not necessarily have all the answers, and you know you need help, and you can be of help and stuff too. So I don't know if I necessarily believe that either. Um, he said, you know, his spelling his ass. I get it. I get it.
I know, and I know what you mean on the bigger scale of like being like it's hard for you to be led. But I think when you're a part of teams that you believe the vision in, I think like we're saying, you'll know when I just it's this is something I need to handle. If they point it out or if I see it, it's gonna be handled. You know what I mean? So, you know, I think the big thing of that is being on a team that you don't mind somebody, you know, pointing the direction if they know if you know the vision is something that y'all all believe in, you know.
Yeah. So another question then, like when it comes to like working as a team and stuff like that, how do you think is the best way to handle disagreements? You know, because they're gonna happen, right? At some point,
Yeah.
especially if you're leading or even if you're being led, like, you know, if you're in the lead, people may not always agree with what you're saying, you know, and vice
Mm-hmm.
versa. Like if I'm being led and someone tells me something, like I'm like, all right, I hear you, but like I don't know if that's necessarily the most effective way to go about doing this. So like, how do you think when you're in that and when you're in that situation, right, of having disagreements and whatnot, how do you think is the best way to address that?
I think the first big thing, and I've had to deal with this like even in just like working in different places. I think the first time I had to really deal with it was like being a manager at the hotel at
Yeah.
the Westin. But it's like the first thing is like remember that the disagreement is about what you're both trying to get accomplished, because when it moves to like disrespect, then it turns to a different thing.
Yeah.
So my first thing is like keep the energy in check enough to know that the disagreement is about what we're both trying to get
Hmm.
done. Because when it becomes like loud or disrespectful, or you know what I'm saying, like when it turns into being about the other person,
Yep.
it's like the other part you're against the other person. Things come out and the energy changes to the point to where even when you do figure that out, now there's like still weird energy lingering around. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So I think the first thing is like check that emotion and realize like I know that person isn't trying to steer us wrong. They're trying to like get something done the same way I
Yeah.
am. You know what I mean? So I think that's the very first thing. Another piece of this thing is I say like having a team that's bigger than just one or two people,
Hmm.
right? Like at some point you almost I think the best way to do something is like if you got a team and it's five of y'all, vote. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Like vote. Like it's like then you can't really be mad if like this is what the team wants to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, I think that's a big thing is like be open to like doing whatever is the best for the team
Exactly.
as opposed to like this is my way. I know this is
Yeah.
gonna work.
Yeah.
You know, and if it does go the other way, don't try to like if the team decides to go the other way, don't be like the have the weird energy about where the team's going. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I gotta do this bullshit. That you know what I'm saying? Like, you know. So I think just first have a team that all really want the same shit. You know that they solid when they try to build, but then you know check that energy and I vote on which way it weighs. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would say to that.
It's a democracy, you know, so
Yeah, man.
absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. You know, like I really honestly couldn't have said it better myself. I think when it comes to disagreements, just like you said, being objective at the end of the day, it's like as a like for instance, like putting together a concert. We've done it before and we know like the stress of it. Like it evolved from like us trying to figure out like how to put the concert to you calling me a motherfucker now. Like so like now
Yeah,
the conversation is completely different. Like we was trying to figure out this concert thing, but now you don't cross the line and it's just like you might have to see me outside. Kind of like, you know, like so
yeah,
just like you said, to that point, keeping those emotions in check and keeping things objective. Like look, like we may disagree, but like at the end of the day, we're working towards the same goal. So like, let's keep this objective. Let's not resort to name calling and being petty and stuff like that. Like it's just like, all right, like let's just figure this out, right? Like let's figure this out together. Like let's go to the drawing board. Like all right, like Let's lay out all of our options, you know, and like you said, as a team, let's vote on this. Like, let's figure out like what the best option for the team is. Like, remove yourself out of it. Like, it's understanding that the collective goal, the collective objective, is bigger than your own. Um, and you posted about it today, right? You can accomplish anything as long as you don't want to take the credit for it. You
Yes,
mentioned it
sir.
earlier, you know, and when you figure out like how to put your pride aside and understanding that like you don't need the credit for everything, and that at the end of the day, as long as the team is winning, that's what matters most. You'll figure anything out, and I think that's where we're at in life too. Is like we don't need the credit, we don't need to be the front man each and every time. Like, you know, like we understand that like yo, like I said, I can be a key player, but I can also be a role player. And it's just like on understanding like when and where to check your ego and just be objective at the end of the day. And I think that's what it takes for a really great team to thrive is checking your ego at the door and just understanding that it's not it's not personal, it's business. You know, like at the end of the day, like so like let's figure this out together.
That's a fact,
Yeah.
man. I just wanted to tap in what Marco said to that too, man. He said, "Or prove why your way is right, or will work." And the truth of that is, like, if there is some results to show it, then show it. Like on either side, like right, like this is how all of the top 50, companies have all did
Hmm.
something. You know what I mean? It's worth a try, right? It worked for 50 of the top companies. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
If you kind of like show results or show why we should try it, then you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Definitely, that definitely should hold some weight for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. Men line, women line, numbers don't. You know, so it's just like if you got cold hard facts to back whatever you're saying, bro, absolutely. And last thing, you know, before like you know before we wrap this thing up, I definitely wanted to touch on we've all been through it, right? Like I think we've seen successful teams, we've seen teams fail, right? You know, like within our own selves and with people around us and stuff. When do you think is an important place to understand like when to exit or dissolve a group, like if you know that the team just isn't working and like the vision that you're working towards isn't working, like and at the end of the day that like no one can see eye to eye, how do you identify when and where to exit or dissolve that group, like when you know is the right point for that?
That's a great question too, man. Because we've all been there. We've all, if you tried any team, then you got to the point. I think there's one thing that like sometimes you got to feel like you got to figure out when the point is to exit, and sometimes when it's just time to just dissolve the whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's like if I'm one of the key players in the thing, right? Like, and we building this thing together, um, I feel like it would be time to dissolve a thing for me personally when maybe I don't believe in the team itself anymore, or I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe in the vision of where it's going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like if the team is not like if I believe in the vision and then the team is like nobody's delivering on the vision, then that might not, maybe I still am looking at the vision, but not this isn't the team for it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Especially after you had those conversations. I think multiple conversations about this being direct about, what we're trying to do and what expectations are is important. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I actually heard this thing. I think Marco said he read this book too. It was like your five next best moves by
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Bet David or something like that. But he talked about being able to have conversations with people and saying and asking them straight up like, um, what do you expect from me
Mm-hmm.
when you're a leader? What do you expect from me, and what can I expect from you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if that's not getting done on the side of what I can't expect from you,
Mm-hmm.
then I think we're getting to a point where the team's not you can't believe in the team, or and that piece has to be replaced, or maybe if it's a small enough team, this the team does.
Yeah.
And then the second piece that I was saying is the vision. If I don't believe in where the team is actually going anymore, then I'm gonna have to get off the train every time, bro. If we're
Yep.
starting to do things that I don't agree with, or you know what I mean, it's out of pocket, or you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's headed to a place that is put even if it's not like even out of pocket, like if it's just putting a heavy workload on me for something that I don't really feel passionate about or really want to do or
Yeah.
don't see the benefit in anymore, then that's when I'm gonna have to bow out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm gonna just head out.
Yep.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? What's that look like for you, bro?
I think similarly, I think you definitely hit the nail on the head. I think the biggest thing is belief, right? I belief. It all starts with belief, and you have to believe in the vision and just the overall direction. And if I no longer believe in us and like what we're working towards, I'm mentally checked out at that point. I'm just like, all right, like, maybe I need to exit this group. Like you said, maybe I need to exit this group and exit this team and figure out with another team. Maybe what I believe in is still strong, but this is not the right team to get to where I'm going, kind of thing. So sometimes you need to exit it. Sometimes you need to dissolve it just altogether. Like if I no longer believe in the vision anymore, like let's scrap this and like let's work towards something. Maybe you do have the right team, but y'all are working towards the wrong goal. All right, cool. Like let's
Exactly.
like like let's redirect, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think it's important to identify those things. So I think belief is a major thing. I think an obvious one is respect too.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is respect. Like if we're in an atmosphere where like I feel like I'm no longer respected, and this isn't just like a one-off kind of thing. Like it's become a repetitive thing where like I'm just being disrespected over and over, and like my contribution and my thoughts and my feelings and stuff like that aren't being respected anymore. Then I'm out of there. I'm like, nah,
I
bro.
feel
Like
you.
if we can't approach this in a respectful manner, we ain't got nothing to be said here. So I think that's the second thing, and I think the last thing is when I feel like my values or ethics are compromised. Like
Hmm.
if there's a situation like, for instance, with all these things that are coming to light, like if we're working towards the goal and I found out somebody on the team is a Diddy, bro, like it's like, nah, bro, like you like dude, I'm out of here. Like I don't care. I don't care what this is. Like what y'all are doing or like whatever what this I was bought in initially, but now whatever y'all are working towards, I'm not about it anymore. Like when I feel like my values and ethics are compromised and like it's no longer uh what I originally signed up for, I'm out of there. I'm like, nah, we need to this ain't the team for me, man. I'm gonna go figure it out on my own, kind of thing, or not on my own, but obviously figure it out with other people, whatever the case may be. So I think those are the big things for me.
That's a fact, bro. That's a fact, man. Respect, belief, and kind of like compromise, like making you compromise what your actual values are.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I feel you, bro.
yeah, I
Nah,
think.
that's heavy.
Yeah. But at the
That's
end of
heavy,
the day,
man.
man, it takes a team to make greatness happen. Teamwork makes the dream work. We talk about it all the time, and we've we've been in groups together. Like the funny thing is, we've been in multiple groups and teams together. Like, and we've
Sure.
seen some of them be very fruitful, and we've seen some of them sink. That ship sank a long time ago, and it's just like, damn, like
Yeah.
like, and um, we've seen both sides of the coin,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, you just got to keep rocking. And sometimes you may need to realign. Sometimes you may need to um, redirect. Sometimes you may just need to scrap it and just start all over.
Yeah.
Like with a whole new team, case may be. But at the end of the day, I think finding those few people, because it's always going to be a few, right? I don't think like it always starts out with a few, and then it progresses into too many. But like just identifying whoever those few people are that you can trust with anything together, or like I know that like we can go to the ends of the earth and back, and like I never have to question your loyalty, um your drive, like your willingness to just like show up, kind of thing. I think when you can identify those people, that's who your real team is, like, but it takes, to your point, you've mentioned it before, you got to go through the struggles and you have to go through those opportunities. You have to go through so much experience together to recognize who those people are.
Real
You're not
people
going to figure that out right out the jump. Like you're going to figure out who your team is because y'all withstood the test of time.
That's a fact, bro. Now that's a heavy point, man. And then one thing I'm gonna add to that too is that like when you got that core group, it doesn't really matter what the team's doing. You got that core group that y'all can switch the vision, and if the team's good, y'all can still elevate to that level. At
Mhm.
least the core, I think at least the core has to be strong, and then you can kind of I think that the best way to move is when you have that strong core is you can outsource some of the other pieces for different side quests almost. Like, we the main team, but then we'll outsource for this side project we're doing. We're outsourced for this side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, the inside team kind of like contracts out to other people
Yep.
to help the bigger things get done. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what we really been realizing in lately
Yeah.
is like partner with your main team, partner with other, you
Yep.
know, either teams or people to get the bigger thing done. Is that's
Yeah.
important, bro.
Yep. Moral of the story, man. Do your ab workouts, man. Get that core right. Get that core right.
Come on, man. Every time. Get that core together, man. Come on, man.
Right?
Drop and give me 50. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir. Well, I think that pretty much takes care of it today, man. Any closing remarks from you?
Nah, just shout out to everybody who tapped in today, man, and shout out to you. You know, shout out to Diamond. I know Diamond couldn't be on here today, man. He's you know, going through it, but at the end of the day, I know his spirits are high, and we're our spirits are high for him, and you know he's gonna make a speedy recovery back to good health. But shout out to, man, you know, like just the team, man. You know, like, and shout out to Marco too. You know, he's very much a part of the core group, you know, that we talk about, and just like I genuinely appreciate each and every one of y'all, and what we're doing and where we're going. And even though we may not talk each and every day, and like that's the other thing too about a core group, like your core unit. At the end of the day, you know that like y'all are always gonna be cool, and y'all are always gonna be solid no matter what, no matter how much time passes, no matter what y'all go through. Like I said, we've withstood the test of time, you know, and um, that's not something to be taken for granted. And so, you know, I think expressing that gratitude, I appreciate y'all for real.
I want to echo something you said and shout out to Marco, man. You've been in here. One thing I don't think we connect enough. Like we chop all always here and there, man, but I don't think we connect enough, man. So whenever like you had that moment where we was able to help you on LinkedIn, if there's ever anything like that, bro, that you know what I mean, like that I can help with, or you know, just maybe things that we're doing overlap, man. We got to do that more, man.
Yeah,
We got to do that more, man. Um, yeah, bro, because it makes too much sense not to, bro. So
yeah,
yeah, man. So,
yeah,
but and I like the way that you even like came about that and was like, yo, me and Z talked about that a lot. Some people don't know how to help you because you don't tell them.
yeah,
It was fire when you just reached out and you was just like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Can you help me with this specific thing?
yeah,
Hell yeah, bro. I got you right now.
yeah.
Yep, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? So nah, man. So big shout out to Marco, man. Everybody that's been tuned in.
Yeah,
You know, keep building them teams out, bro. But for sure, Marco, we gotta definitely connect.
yeah, yeah. Get that core together, man. You know, like we appreciate each and every one of y'all. Thanks again to everybody who tapped in. Shout out to Marco, man. Big things, like he said, big things coming in the works. Uh, you need to stop horsing around and bring your ass out to New York too.
Thanks.
All eyes on you.
Come on,
All
man.
eyes on. But nah, I appreciate y'all, man, for real. And be sure to tap in next week, man. We here every Monday, you know, 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's 5 p.m. Pacific time. You know, so y'all ain't got no excuses, man. We here each and every Monday. Shout out to y'all for rocking with us, man. And we'll be back next week.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all be
All right,
easy, man.
y'all. Be
Yeah.
safe.